Hello again. Welcome and welcome back to Moorditj Education, episode 5. If you've been following us, you will have heard some really insightful discussions so far. So I really recommend, if you haven't, to go back, have a look at episodes 1 to 4. I'm joined by Laurence Fuster again. I appreciate you being here, Laurence. And for this episode, we're going to talk about understanding connection. And now you yourself said, when we were talking about putting this forward as a topic, you yourself said, this is a massive topic. Yeah.
Yes.
So why is it so massive?
I think understanding connection is it's very important because it's important to understand ourselves, to connect with ourselves, to connect to our cultures, to connect to our religion, if you're religious, to connect to your spirituality, and to connect to the land and to connect to who you are, connect to your work. And it's very important that everything you do, you are connected with it. So if you are truly connected to what you want to do in life,
Yep.
and connected to your work will just become the best because you are truly invested in it. You are connected with it and you are passionate within it. You love it. You wake up every single morning with a smile on your face, wanting to experience more.
Yep.
To have that deep, profound connection with everything within yourself and everything you do. It's very, very important.
Sure. And I might just at this point give a little spoiler alert, because in a upcoming episode we're actually going to talk more about finding the meaning in the work you do.
Yes.
Yeah. But coming back to connections, look, I read this book called Lost Connections. The author's name slips my mind at the moment. It sort of sounded similar to what you were saying. This book was all about, depression is caused not by an imbalance of chemicals, but by the loss of connection to various things. So loss of connection to your work, loss of connection to your friends, to your spouse, loss of connection to the land. Would you share that view?
100% I would. If we lose that connection with ourselves, we therefore won't be as connected as we should be with everything we do. So if we have these certain issues that lie within us, mental health, depression, traumas, that we haven't quite to overcome or to connect with and to resolve it, we can actually become disconnected. We can disconnect ourselves by kind of not working through these other problems. But it's important that we find that connection and we start to grow our roots and connect with everything that we do. And it's important that we work with things that can kind of sever those connections.
Yep.
But if we have that true connection within ourselves and we are connected to the land and we're connected to our family and we're connected to culture and we're connected to your religion, and if we're connected to your spirituality, and if you're connected to your work, everything that you do, everything that you say, everything that you believe will come from a true and genuine space because you have formed that connection.
Yeah. So I'm really getting that sense that, connection is multifactorial. Is multifactorial. And it also sounds like, you were saying connecting with everything you do it goes back to, it sounds like being present again
It does.
with everything you do.
It
Yeah.
does. Yes.
Now, to be present with everything you do, now I've heard of some, you hear these experiences, maybe people have taken LSD and in that moment, in that state, under that influence, they have understood the universe. They've seen themselves as one with the universe. Now, we're not advocating that people take drugs to try to achieve that state, but how can you move more towards that kind of, you were talking about, to dive deeper with connecting with this sense that we're all connected?
I think it's important that you go back to your roots, to find your roots, and to discover who you are and where you come from. To understand where you come from, and that that connection through your lineage is super, super important. To understand your history and to understand your culture, and to understand your to bridge that connection from to bridge that connection to who you are, and to become more connected. So it's important that we connect more to everything we do. We connect to ourselves, we connect to our loved ones, we connect to the earth, and we connect to nature, and we understand ourselves and understand why we're doing these things, and understand the importance of the work.
Yeah. And I often hear from what you say, I often get the sense that like the beginning point is that inner work.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the planting of the seed.
Yeah.
The planting of the seed. To plant that seed and to nurture it within yourself, to grow it, to be connected with it, so it is birthed into something truly amazing, and it grows into something astonishing. That work. It's a connection. It's that connection with yourself.
Yeah. So the work sort of needs to begin with yourself.
Yes.
Is that there potential within ourselves, or do we need to plant seeds within ourselves, or is it something already there, or how is it
We
cultivated?
all have the potential within ourselves.
Yeah.
Every single one of us. That potential is always there. We just have to discover it.
Yep.
We have to find it. We have to work towards it. We have to connect ourselves to it. But it's a matter of going through that process and staying consistent within that process to keep traveling and staying on that journey.
Now, when you're talking about connection, you often use the word balance in conjunction with connection. Why do you incorporate this word all the time, balance? What am I trying to balance here when I'm connecting with myself, connecting with others?
I think it's important to have that balance between yourself, through your peers, through your family, through your work as well. To have that balance between your investment within yourself and the investment of life and the investment of being a good friend and a good son or a daughter, or to have that balance, to have that connection at a 50-50 kind of ratio.
Okay.
To keep that connection within yourself, but to learn to connect with others, but don't lose yourself within that process.
Sure.
For example, partners, for example, I'll use that as an example. We have partners in that, but we're so invested in that relationship that we lose connection to ourselves. Because we're so invested in something else. Or if you're running a business, or if you're doing something else. We are so invested in these other things that we forget to tend to our needs and our connections.
Yes,
You
yes.
know, so it's important to have that balance. You know,
Yep.
that balance that keeps everything in order.
Yep.
You know?
I absolutely understand what you're saying, and I totally agree, because when I think about the times in my life when I've just, been down or sort of off the rails, yeah, if I look back at those times, I definitely did lose some sort of balance in connection. So I really love that you've pointed out that in this episode, because yeah, it's all well and good to speak about connection, but I really love that you've mentioned that key point, the balance in the connections.
Yeah.
I really love that. So thanks for expanding on that.
Of course.
Now, can we go into a little bit about the connection with others personally?
Yep.
Now, I think most people have a general sense of that, but you also mentioned, I think what people don't have so much of a sense of is connection with the society. Because I think as a Western perspective, it's quite individualistic. We think, well, make ourselves better.
Yeah.
But you're talking about how do you connect with society, and then how do you connect with the land? I'll let you, address that as you wish.
I think, connecting with the land, we have to be on the land. We have to be on country, but we have to respect country.
Right.
We have to look after country. We have to show that respect and to create that connection. And that is very important, because this is the land we live on. This is the air we breathe. These are the the waters that we have.
Yeah.
And we have to connect ourselves with them, and we must never disconnect ourselves.
Yeah.
Because we can become disengaged with what's truly important.
And how do we look after country on a personal and daily level? Like I'm sure we can suggest big things like don't pollute the environment in the industry and all that sort of stuff. But what can we do on a personal level to look after country?
Don't tread too hard. Walk lightly across country.
Yeah, what do you mean by that? Because again, it's one of those times where I'm feeling everything you say, and I only wish that you listening now and viewing now could actually be present with Laurence, because the connection that we have while talking, a lot of it is transmitted by, frankly, Laurence's energy and what I'm feeling that he says. But just to try to articulate that, what does it mean to tread lightly over country? And
leave country in its original state.
yeah,
Don't destroy it. Don't cause havoc on it. Don't cause destruction or devastation. Leave things how they were, and look after it, and don't take what you want.
Yep.
Only take what you need. And you look after country will look after you in return.
Yeah. And needless to say, I really appreciate your willingness and generosity to put these things into words. Phenomena that probably don't really exist in words. They're more of a sense and a feeling and that sort of thing.
It's a knowing.
It's a knowing.
It's 100%. It's a knowing. Knowing what's right. And never losing yourself within that. And staying true to that.
Yeah.
Because if we disrespect country, and if we ruin country, we're actually ruining and disrespecting a part of ourselves.
It's a great
We
way.
are from the land and we are from the earth, and if we destroy it, then we're destroying a part of ourselves.
Sure. I think that beautifully illustrates the concept of connection as well. And what about then connection to society. That's a bit hard to understand.
Yes.
You know,
I think connecting to society, we have to be more connected as a people. We have to, stop worrying about
Yeah.
all this technology and all this kind of stuff. Imagine a world where everybody interacted, where human interaction was great, where you could walk around, where you could be with a friend and they're not on their phone. They're truly in the moment.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
really connected to what's really in front of them. You know, I see it all the time. You see it all the time.
Yep.
We are so distracted by technology, social media, and the electronics that we forget and we lose ourselves within that place.
Yeah.
And we actually lose a sense of human interaction and personal and emotional interaction. We forget language and how to communicate and what that means to love and understand and to know one another. You know, we lose that connection, and if we lose that connection, we lose a sense of our connection because we are connected to all things.
Yeah, and it's funny, isn't it, that, devices that were created and whose purpose is supposed to be to connect us better are actually having the opposite effect.
100%. We don't think for ourselves.
Yeah.
Everything thinks for us.
Yeah, yeah.
That's why we look back in the days when there was no technology and there was none of this social media and that. We had some pretty prominent people within society because they used their mind, they used their brain. Technology didn't do that for them.
So we're kind of, are we disconnecting
We're
from knowledge,
disconnected
from
and
true knowledge?
we become disengaged from knowledge, from from that knowledge and that wisdom. You know, some pretty amazing people. But it's important that we put it down and we just observe what's going on around us, and we are there for our family and we help them and we sit down and we talk to them and we talk to them about our problems and we talk about life and we are real. We don't hide and bog our head within a false reality.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and we have to think for ourselves and we have to work things out for ourselves, and it's important that we do it because it strengthens the mind, it strengthens the brain, it creates it fires new neurons and it creates plasticity within our mind, which we can start to think better, alter ourselves, we can transform, we can
So
become the next best thing.
yeah, yeah.
You know, so
being real, I'm understanding is a real key for connection.
100%.
And in such a fake world, because a lot of things that we experience every day are fake.
Yes.
When we look on the news, social media,
Yes.
a lot of it is not actually real.
Yeah. Well, we look on the news and we are constantly brainwashed by things that are irrelevant instead of things that need more they need more
Sort of priority.
yeah,
would you
need more
say?
priority. The things that need more priority. A bunch of politicians are just arguing.
Yeah.
But yet, if we want to create a greater world and a greater country for all who live in it, why not just contribute to the same cause and actually start to implement it instead of fucking arguing? And we can actually start to take action and start to create a better society and start to build a greater world for all who live in it instead of arguing and bickering, and we can just solve it.
So how do we move towards or back towards the real? What do we do? Switch off our phones, or
We have to find that connection.
yeah,
We have to connect ourselves. We have to understand why it is we do these things in the first place.
Sure.
Why we wanted to.
Yeah, great point.
But some things could be bad. We might do these things not just for the good, but for the bad. But we must think of the greater good of society and everybody who lives in it.
Yeah, I love that point. Going back and reflecting on why are we even doing this, I might just share with the viewers and the listeners when we're on a little break, a question that really made me stop in my tracks. It really stumped me. Was why do you wake up in the morning? Why do you actually go to teach? As I'm a teacher, and I had to think about that for a second. So, which probably reminds me, I have to go back to the reasons and the purposes to get that good alignment to go in
100%.
the right direction.
Finding that connection and finding why you have embarked on this journey. Why have you done it? There's a reason. There's obviously something that's changed or shifted within yourself, and something that you've enjoyed, or a face that just lit up a room when you did something great, and that's why you do it.
Yeah, sure.
Helping somebody, and truly being passionate about it, and knowing that it's the right thing to do, and it's your true calling.
Yeah, and that's why I really appreciate talking to you, because at times I really love your ability just to cut through all the smog and the mist and that, and just to send that really clear, age-old, ancient but so true message. It's really, really refreshing to hear. In terms of messages, we were talking about connecting, but you were also mentioning like different languages, so not Italian and Spanish and Mandarin and all that sort of thing. But we were talking before in a previous episode about different intelligences. Now, what did you mean by different languages of
I think
connection?
We all speak a different language.
Yeah.
We all speak a different language. We all portray our message very differently.
Yeah.
But I believe the most important language is a simple language. Is a language where we all understand and we can all learn from, instead of a complex language where only the complex people know. But what about the rest of the people that don't understand? To speak out a simple language for everybody to understand it, for everybody to learn it, and for everybody to integrate it and to understand it. Because if you're using all these complex languages and all that, it's the ego, isn't it? Showing how good you are at words. Fantastic. So what if I asked you what these words meant? Probably wouldn't know, would you? But if you are simple, because a true genius knows how to simplify complexity. For everybody to understand it. For example, even in some places, schools, or when you're talking to people, or when you're being taught, some people say these big words, and it's like, what does that mean? You read books and it's like these big words. It's like, what does that mean?
What does it mean? What does it mean?
Then you've got to do all the research into that. Then there's all this other research, and it's like, wow, why can't you just say that in the most simpler terms? So we can all understand it.
Well, that's a great point.
Different language, and
So coming to connection with that simplicity, which I think, would you say that comes from having a pure heart? So doing that work on becoming more pure of heart in your intentions, and do you think that translates to simpler language?
The best learning is simple. The best learning is simple. The best showing is simple. To just be simple. To be simple is the best. Keep everything simple but effective. Simple and effective.
Now, with the earlier in this episode, you were talking about finding that connection with yourself, that then enables you to find a connection with your family. Your family then finds a connection with the culture, and the culture with the land. So I see this, interconnectivity happening here. So it's like a system almost, like it's a network. Is that how you see it? Yeah.
So, we had that connection with our family. The connection with our family, and through having that strong connection, we learn from our family. We learn from our elders, and we learn from our predecessors.
Yes.
And they connect us to our roots. They connect us through culture, and through connecting us through culture, we are then connected to the land.
Yep.
And once we're connected through the land, we are connected through, well, I like to say, we're connected to spirit. We're connected to spirituality. And when we connect through this, we actually connect to a higher part of ourselves. We connect to ourselves in general. And when we connect to ourselves, we connect to other parts of ourselves that we never knew existed. And when we start to work with these things that we never knew existed, we actually start to create new networks, and we start to branch through those networks, and we dive deeper. So we have systems within systems within systems within systems, and it doesn't stop. You know, it's like when you want to help people, and but you're not sure about what the actual problem is.
Yeah,
You know, so for example, you know, we want to change the mind. We want to change the mind, but what is it about the mind you want to change? You want to change the barriers that you put on yourself, the barriers that are in front of you. Within these barriers are the limitations.
Yep.
These limitations are the voices saying, I can't do this, I can't achieve this, it's too hard, it's too much. And through diving deeper, through each thing, we actually get to the root of the problem. You know, so what's causing these limitations? What is causing these limitations, and why can't we do these things that we want to do, but we just can't? You know, is it past experience? Is it childhood trauma? Is it suppression? Is it being told we can't? Is it having a father or a mother saying that it's too much, and you know, you won't amount to anything, you know? And through these problems, going deeper and deeper and deeper through things, we find the root problem, and we can use that way of thinking through everything.
Well, yeah, I really like how you've articulated, well, for me at least, it's become, a lot clearer about how the individual is connected in this much more complex system.
Yes.
I'm just a curious question that I have. When you say connection with the spirit, so, you know, a lot of Western people would say, well, God and that sort of thing. But what do you understand by connection to the spirit? Is that
So
a
for
source of
me,
knowledge or energy or?
It's the connection to the spirit of the land.
Right.
Being connected to the land, and being connected to, you know, your culture, and being connected to everything, all shapes and forms. You know, to have that deeper connection with something that's greater. That true force.
The true force.
The true force. The life.
All right. Well, look, Laurence, I really want to thank you again. You know, really a heartfelt thanks for your time and sharing all your perspectives. This episode, Understanding Connection, you were right when you said this is a massive topic, and I feel that such a short episode
Doesn't explain it
all. We cannot explain it all. Yeah, but I was wondering, did you want to leave some kind of final summative comment or message about this topic, understanding connection?
It's important that as an individual, that you find the connection within yourself. Find the connection, find your connection, understand who you are, and bridge that void of the unknown. Connect yourself to your mind, connect yourself to your family, connect yourself to your inner child, connect yourself to who you are, and don't be afraid to be who you are and show that side of you, because it's yourself connecting to yourself. You know, connect to the land, because we need to look after our country and the planet, and we have to form connections where they are most needed.
Mate, you are an inspiration. I thank you again for yet another insightful chat, and I think there's a few more chats that we need to have.
Yes, there is.
So can you join me for a few more?
Looking forward to it.
Thanks, mate.
Thank